In 1990, two stealth platforms redefined what was possible: the YF-23 and the future F-22. Both exceeded Air Force benchmarks: a supercruise of Mach 1.72, extremely low observability, a 500 nautical mile combat radius. But the contest did not favor the platform that flew faster, reached further, and hid deeper. The familiar path was chosen. What happens when an Air Force designed for risk avoidance meets a platform built for a new kind of war? The answer begins with the problem only these aircraft could solve. Soviet air defenses in the 1980s forced a redefinition of what a frontline fighter needed to achieve. Ground-based radar systems like the S-300 extended detection zones well beyond 100 nautical miles. Soviet airborne warning aircraft, such as the Beriev A-50, pushed surveillance envelopes to 250 nautical miles. Penetrating these layers required more than speed or altitude. It demanded a platform that could cross these distances unseen, strike, and return without refueling. The 1984 Statement of Operational Need set the benchmark. It specified a combat radius of 500 nautical miles, combining subsonic and supersonic segments. Sustained supersonic cruise without afterburner, called supercruise, became non-negotiable. Stealth requirements called for radar cross-section below 0.001 square meters, all aspect. Agility was not abandoned. The platform had to survive both long-range missile threats and close-in engagements. Each requirement forced trade-offs. More fuel meant more weight. More stealth meant fewer exposed control surfaces. More agility meant higher structural loads. The mission profile was shaped by the threat, not by preference. Only a synthesis of stealth and supercruise and agility could meet the operational reality of Cold War airspace. This convergence defined the problem the advanced tactical fighter had to solve. In October 1986, the Air Force awarded 2 demonstration and validation contracts for the Advanced Tactical Fighter program. Lockheed, Boeing, and General Dynamics formed one team. Northrop and McDonnell Douglas formed the other. Both teams were tasked to deliver full-scale flying prototypes, not paper designs. This approach reflected directives from the Packard Commission, which called for fly-before-buy as a hedge against technical risk and cost overruns. The demonstration and validation phase required each contractor to build and test, fly their prototype under strict oversight from the Air Force Program Office. Performance, stealth, and supercruise were measured in real flight, not simulation. The process required each team to absorb a portion of development costs, resulting in more than $1.3 billion in combined contractor investment. The evaluation was not a paper exercise. Flight data, manufacturability, and supportability were assessed in parallel. The dual-team structure forced a direct comparison of competing philosophies, each measured against the same operational benchmarks. The Air Force's procurement doctrine prioritized objective data gathered from these prototype flights, establishing a baseline for risk and capability before moving to full-scale development. This system-level contest was designed to isolate technical merit and execution under real conditions, not theoretical promise. Flight test data from the Advanced Tactical Fighter program produced a clear set of numbers, but no clear victor. The YF-23 demonstrated sustained supercruise at Mach 1.72, a margin above the YF-22's Mach 1.58 in military power. The YF-23's maximum unrefueled range reached 2,796 miles, nearly 500 miles farther than the YF-22's documented 2,300 miles. For ferry missions and extended patrols, the YF-23 offered measurable endurance beyond its competitor. Both platforms achieved Mach 2.2 in dash speed at altitude. Agility metrics, however, favored the YF-22. Thrust vectoring nozzles delivered pitch rates more than double those of the F-16, with trimmed angles of attack above 60 degrees. The YF-22 demonstrated plus 7.9 G in testing. The YF-23 maintained stable flight at high speed, but it was not optimized for instantaneous turns. At low altitude and low speed, the YF-22's maneuvering edge was evident, designed for aggressive nose pointing and rapid energy changes. Radar cross-section data remains classified. Available reports consistently cite the YF-23's blended diamond wing and V-tail configuration as achieving a lower signature than the YF-22. Northrop's design prioritized signature and range. Lockheed's prioritized agility and handling. Both platforms met or exceeded the Air Force's operational benchmarks. The numbers did not produce a technical winner. They revealed two solutions, each optimized for a different interpretation of the same requirements. The evaluation would require a filter beyond raw metrics. Procurement records from the Advanced Tactical Fighter program show that performance data alone did not drive the outcome. Source Selection Board evaluations assigned formal weight to contractor pedigree and schedule risk, not only to technical scores. Lockheed's prior experience with the F-117 Nighthawk, operational since 1983, appears in declassified selection memos as a primary factor reducing perceived integration risk. The F-117's transition from a black program to a fielded stealth platform provided a visible proof of concept for low observable manufacturing and support. Air Force evaluators identified that track record as a hedge against delays and unforeseen technical hurdles. Northrop's approach, shaped by its B-2 bomber work, was judged less directly applicable to fighter-scale production. The institutional filter classified Northrop's diamond wing and V-tail configuration as higher development risk, despite favorable test results. Evaluation minutes reference concerns about Northrop managing two advanced programs at the same time, raising questions about resource allocation and delivery timelines. The procurement system, shaped by Packard Commission reforms, required evidence of production reliability as much as flight envelope performance. Lockheed's established supplier networks and maintenance practices aligned with Air Force support doctrine, further tipping the scales. The numbers from flight tests were filtered through a lens of institutional familiarity and risk aversion. In that environment, demonstrated stealth pedigree became a quantifiable asset, shaping the final scoring matrix as much as the platform's own performance metrics. Northrop's YF-23 adopted a diamond wing planform, blending its wings and fuselage into a single low-drag surface. This geometry reduced wave drag at transonic and supersonic speeds, supporting efficient cruise above Mach 1.6. The V-tail configuration, canted outward, replaced conventional vertical stabilizers and horizontal tails, minimizing radar reflections and reducing the number of exposed edges. Engine nacelles were buried deep within the fuselage, with S-shaped inlets masking compressor faces from radar and exhaust troughs, mixing hot gases with ambient air to suppress infrared signature. The internal weapons bay, sized for 4 AIM-120 AMRAAMs and 2 AIM-9 Sidewinders, preserved the platform's clean lines and low observable profile. Northrop's schematics emphasized continuous surface blending, avoiding abrupt transitions that could spike radar returns. Every design element served the primary goal: reduce detection at every angle and frequency. The result was a platform optimized for beyond visual range, engagement, extended reach, and minimum signature, reflecting a system built for long range, low observable penetration, rather than close-in maneuvering. Procurement history repeatedly shows a pattern. The F-111B, designed for the Navy in the 1960s, was cancelled after weight growth and integration challenges made the platform incompatible with carrier operations. The Navy selected the F-14, a more conventional design, despite the F-111B's technical promise. Air Force acquisition in the Century Series era favored incremental updates and trusted contractors. That approach sustained familiar airframes over more radical alternatives. The lightweight fighter competition of the 1970s produced the F-16, but only after external pressure shifted priorities from the heavier F-15. Each case demonstrates how unconventional solutions, even when technically viable, are often sidelined by institutional preference for known quantities and manageable risk. Modern doctrine in the Pacific underscores this pattern. Anti-access and area denial strategies have expanded the distance between operating bases and contested airspace. Requirements for 1,500 nautical mile mission radii and persistent low observability now mirror the design priorities once embodied by the YF-23. Cancellation records and doctrine briefs show how procurement systems shaped by precedent often optimize for risk control over adaptation. The operational environment evolves, but institutional preferences remain embedded in the acquisition process. Today, doctrine shifts toward range, stealth, and operational reach. These are the metrics the YF-23 prioritized over convention. Procurement systems still favor the familiar. When the environment changes faster than the process, capability can remain just out of reach. The quiet alternative is rarely the default. Thanks for watching.